Ladies and gentlemen, we have a customer here, Mr. Horrigan, that we are performing a chiller service for on his yacht located at National Harbor, Maryland. Mr. Horrigan, what kind of boat do you have?
This is a 61-foot Pilothouse Pilothouse. It's a wonderful boat, made in America. Just a year and a half ago, we had it out in 70-foot seas for 3 days.
What?
Yes, it was a following sea, and the boat just took it, didn't take a drop of water on the deck.
In 70-foot seas? 70-foot
seas. This was when we were coming up to the Chesapeake. We were going to go around the Cape Hatteras.
Okay.
But we had 4 people aboard and a dog, so they decided, we all decided that it would be better to come into the intracoastal rather than...
A little safer there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried about breaking waves as we came in.
Yeah, 70-foot sea, you're knocking out windshield glass at that point if it crashes on you.
If it crashes on you, the following sea, so we just slide back down the bottom. Slide back down the bottom.
It makes it, what would you say, about that much more enjoyable?
No, I'm pretty much worried because it was a new boat. I didn't know what was going to fail or if anything could fail.
Yeah.
But nothing did. And I have a cure for seasickness.
Yeah, that's great. So, from what little bit I've seen of your boat, I'm not, very fluent in tallycraft. I've worked on a few during my career. But from what I can see, it's a pretty well designed and well engineered boat. Even like down there in the bilge where your chiller systems are, you got plumbed parallel seawater pumps. So if you have one seawater pump fail, you close that valve, you open the other valve, and you fire up the other pump. It's a great design. You were here recently. Your initial service request, or as we say, customer complaint, basically your HVAC system wasn't cooling as efficiently as you thought it was. Now, after getting to know you a little bit, you're not the average customer. In fact, your background is marine engineering.
Absolutely. I've got over 14 years documented sea time or apprenticeships in all aspects of marine engineering. My problem is I love to get down there and haul everything apart and put it back together, but I'm also a senior executive managing director of 2 companies, and sometimes that gets a little hectic.
Yeah, so, I can imagine.
So I like to call on somebody that I can trust.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you find Completely Custom Marine?
It was a reference, a referral by somebody on one of the other docks.
Oh, okay.
I said, who are those guys? What are they doing? I do that with everybody. Who are those guys? What are they doing? Just in case I need somebody.
Sure.
They had fuel oil polishers out there last week, and I got his card. I don't need fuel oil polishing. But
if you ever do, you'll know who to call.
Yep.
Great. So from your background, education, and experience that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you knew your chiller system was operating properly. The issue was it wasn't operating optimally. So, we came out, we did the initial diagnosis, assessment, inspection, and when we were done with that, I suggested to do a chiller service and flush out both chillers, the whole 9 yards, get any of that marine growth, that mud sediment that the Upper Potomac is famous for. It's
mostly organic, and it can be corrosive, but mostly it's just organic.
Yeah.
It forms a sludge.
Yep. So, and we pulled your sea strainer out, and that thing was just chock full of mud. It was pretty nasty. So we got all that cleaned up. We got the flushing system connected to your chiller equipment. And it's actually flushing right now as we speak. We're just trying to be efficient, and we're doing the interview rather than twiddling our thumbs while the system is flushing. So recently we did a previous service for a neighbor of yours, maybe 10 slips down the dock. And when we stepped on board that boat, it was blowing out 78-degree air. And we did the exact same service that we are doing here for you, and by the time we were all said and done, it was blowing out 65-degree air. Now, mind you, we did not do any refrigerant adjustments. We didn't add any refrigerant. We didn't remove any refrigerant. So all of this is strictly as the result of this flushing service that we're doing. It's a combination of the chemicals, which we use Barnacle Buster, and the equipment that we use. You know, we're using the Portaflush Junior, and I set it up with quick connect fittings, so that way we can easily connect and disconnect from the pump. You know what I mean? And we're going to let that run a while. Then we're going to switch the hoses, reverse the flow, to help shake the last little bit loose. And we're going to reconnect everything, fire the system up, we're going to let it run, and then we're going to get our post-service data, you know, the different temperature readings and stuff like that. So I think you're going to be very satisfied.
I'm looking forward to it. We've had 100-degree temperatures almost non-stop. It's down around 90 for the highs. Yeah. We're going to have a week of 80, then we're back up to 90 again.
It's been a pretty warm summer here in Maryland for 22, you know. I think, you know, we stuck the thermometer in your air vent in the galley above your refrigerator. I think it was blowing out around 80-degree air.
That's very probable. That one's a little cooler. The two in the bedroom are, in the master stateroom, are better, but most of them are a little on the lame side.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, you know, no guarantees, but I'm hoping we can make at least a 15-degree difference. And the beauty about all of this is we're not touching refrigerant, we're not replacing parts, we're not, you know, guessing at what we're doing or, you know, wasting a whole bunch of money on other stuff. We're really attacking the root cause issue here. And basically that's the fouled seawater circuit of the chiller system. And you're not the only one that has this problem. Every boat with a raw water cooled HVAC system, it's not a matter of if, but when they're going to come up against this problem. You can avoid it by absolutely staying on top of all the preventive maintenance services and stuff like that. Most people don't do it.
Wait for the symptoms, then address it.
Exactly. When we did our initial service recently, you know, when we come out to do our assessment, diagnosis, inspection, stuff like that, you actually were satisfied enough that you left us a 5-star review.
Yes.
So with that,
I was impressed.
Yeah. So with that being said, I want to ask a couple questions. A, why were you impressed? B, how is the communication working with Completely Custom Marine? How is our professionalism? And what is your overall service experience? So let's tell the world.
Well, I think that the first thing that impressed me, I've had the boat repaired off and on all up and down the coast to the tip of Florida.
All up and down the East Coast.
All up and down the East Coast. And once you get south of D.C., the talent drops precipitously. You'll have people that'll take your engine apart, not figure out what's wrong with it. I'll stop them, of course, before they do that. But people that just, you know, there's a depth and breadth of education, and these guys know how to undo a screw sometimes.
So we'll say, maybe it's safe to say sometimes service companies and technicians can get in over their head.
Quite easy.
Is that a safe way to say what you're saying?
Absolutely. Real talent is hard to get a hold of, and it's hard to keep.
I agree with that.
And on top of that, the other thing that impressed me is you had an apprentice with you, and I'm a big believer in apprenticeships.
Yeah.
And you were showing the guy, right, this goes to here, here's the flow, this goes back over to here. When you pull this apart, there's maybe pressure. Here's how you disconnect the system. And he was getting all of that. And that's like, you're a jewel, you know, pardon me,
yeah.
you know, but you're making jewels.
Yeah.
So that is very important to me. My son is going to have somebody that can fix this boat. All right.
Yeah. Well, you know, in the position I'm in, not only am I a master tech, the lead tech of the company, I'm also the owner, the founder, and the president. You know, so it absolutely behooves me to train everybody that works for the company to the best ability that I have. And, you know, it's an industry-wide problem in the marine service industry to find qualified help. It's not just a general problem of, you know, oh, it's hard to find good help. You know, everybody says that. This is actually so known that the state of Maryland has budgeted grant money for the development and continuing, I'll say, curation of qualified marine technicians between different education programs and other opportunities. Like, for example, the MTAM, the Maryland Trades Association, or the Marine Trades Association of Maryland. They're, you know, making a big effort in doing internship programs with different tech schools and matching them up with different service companies. I've actually employed some of them. Personally, we went so far as actually developing our own in-house training program. And I already have proof of concept. I've already taken a technician from A to Z in approximately 2 years. Now, don't get me wrong, I've spent a small fortune on third-party manufacturer and distributor training and stuff like that to supplement our in-house training program, but it's working. Now we just need to amplify it and keep the momentum going. So I'm very grateful that you're satisfied. You know, that makes me feel good. It tells me that we're doing our job, and you know, we're still doing a good job and providing good service. We strive for quality. We don't strive for quantity. I won't cut corners. I get customers that ask me that all the time, and I just won't do it, because in the heat of the moment, the customer's happy because the customer's saving a little bit of money by cutting that corner. But as soon as the problem arises, the fingers are pointed, phone calls, emails, look what you did, blah, 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 blah. I just assume to avoid all of that.
Yeah. As soon as 50-knot winds pick up, you're going to have trouble, and lack of quality is going to be the first to raise.
Exactly. So how has the professionalism and communication been working with Completely Kustom Marine?
Once you get into an environment where you're working with professionals, everything is simple. It's really cut and dried. You know that nothing else is going to happen, so you just do it. And if I can trust you, trust is a big deal.
I absolutely agree. I tell everybody that works for me, if I can't trust you, you can't work for me. Period.
There you go.
So I totally agree with that. Everybody that works for Completely Kustom Marine, as far as in the field, technicians, essentially they're an extension of me. They're representing the company, our brand, our reputation, and everything else that goes along with it. So great.
Business philosophy 101. As goes the head, so goes the body.
Absolutely.
So if you're sharp, your kids are going to be sharp.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't mean it's easy.
Oh, no.
So great. So we're going to get your service wrapped up here shortly, and we're going to come back, 24, 48 hours for a post-service follow-up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to receive a text message before we get back out here for the post-service follow-up, and you're going to say, hey, it's blowing much cooler air. I'm happy.
Well, what I would rather do, what I would optimally like to do, is set it at 70 and leave it, or 68 or whatever. It doesn't do that precisely. But if I set it at 70, right now, if it's 100 degrees out, I've got it set at max, and it just stays at max.
It can't keep up.
It can't keep up.
Because it's not operating optimally. It's very inefficient at the present moment.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And our system is set up so that we can have heat and air conditioning on at the same time, and when the temperature drops, the heat just turns on
automatically. Correct.
But of course, the heat's never going to see operations,
Yeah, I totally get it. All right. Well, I want to thank you for your business. Thank you as a customer. If there's anything we can do in the future, you know how to get a hold of us. Don't hesitate to give us a call.
Completely Custom Marine.
We put the K in Kustom. I own that service mark.
Good, good, good. Daniel, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep.